afternoon, Columbus. How we doing? Are you guys ready to have a good time? Listen, I know it's cliche to come out here and say, I'm so excited for this next panel, but without exaggeration, I am so excited for this panel. I've been counting the days till we have our next guest on. So please, with no further ado, you know him as Lieutenant Jim Dangle. Please help me welcome Thomas Lennon.
Hi, how are you?
That's what that giggling was about.
Hey, how's it going? It's great to be here.
Well, hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lieutenant.
It's good to see you. How you been? Everybody good? Yeah? Did everybody find parking? Yeah? Everybody found decent parking? Oh, Columbus, he has a lot of parking issues. I'm going to take mostly confrontational questions, I hope, so if you have confrontational stuff, let's try to get to that right away.
How have these fine folks here in Columbus been treating you?
Columbus has been really amazing, and I think one of it is just everybody's physically strong.
I was going to say, I've walked by your table, and just about every single person has been picking you up.
I spent a lot of time in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my con is usually about how much air I'm just going to sit in as weird as I can, because now there's a photographer here. So I'm just going to make it seem like we had the most normal panel ever. You'll be like, oh, I was at that. Yeah, he just did that for the photographer. No, people have been very, very strong. Everybody's pretty well groomed, which is nice.
Okay, that's...
good sports. And then a couple of actual, like, giants. You have some human, like, actual giants here. I met a guy who was like 7 feet tall. Yeah.
Has anybody here at the panel picked up Thomas today? Yeah, we got a couple hands up there.
Okay, I'm down there all afternoon, too. It's more fun than it seems.
I was gonna say, you seem to be having...
Yeah, you know what? It might just be fun for me, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
You seem to be having so much fun here at GalaxyCon.
It's a great one.
I have to... and I'm sure you've been...
They shouldn't give me a couch if they don't want me to have a nice time. All right.
So,
okay.
Carry on amongst yourselves.
I feel like this is what the kids call Netflix and chill.
Yes. I mean, besides the...
This is the best way to have a hard-hitting interview.
This is. Next, we're going to talk about your family.
Which one?
While I have you on the couch.
The secret family doesn't know about the other family, but that's fine. The best way for that to come out is at a panel.
That is the best way.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, of course, the question that I think you've probably been asked the most, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask it now. So,
yes.
Besides your amazing legs, what was the inspiration behind wearing the shorty shorts on Reno 911?
I think the problem is I had just seen the movie G.I. Jane with Viggo Mortensen. If you haven't seen Viggo Mortensen in G.I. Jane, just Google it and you get this. It is the exact same outfit, head to toe, the mustache, the highlights, the whole thing. So the inspiration was I looked at Viggo Mortensen for 1 second. And that was all the acting work I did. That was it.
How much of Reno 911 was scripted writing and how much was improv?
The original idea for the show is actually that it would be... How many people are familiar with a show called Little Britain? Anybody? Yeah? So Little Britain, we were looking at like Little Britain, and that's a show where two guys play everyone in the whole world in the show. So the idea of Reno 911 was we were going to be like an improvised sketch show where we were the cops and we were also all of the perps. So in every single scene, we would be everybody that you'd meet. And we thought that was really, really funny. We ended up we did do that for the original pilot, and then we ended up keeping of that only Niecy Nash's character TT. Everybody knows TT with the pendulous bosoms. And,
I do.
And Jackie, which is played by Carrie, Jackie the pickle throwing hooker. We kept only those really two perp characters, just because we never thought it would be about the cops. We thought it would be about little sketches that the cops were sort of like the straight men in. And so then when we really started doing the show, we realized, oh, it's much more interesting to stay with the cops than to like try to have us play a million wacky characters all the time. So that's how, and improvisation-wise, we definitely write down like if there's going to be an explosion or car crashes, of which there are endless explosions and car crashes, and I'm never driving. If you're in a car crash, you want to be driving. You don't want to be in the passenger seat. It is a nightmare, and we do it all the time, and I'm always in the passenger seat. So I would say there's like a 30% that's a script, and then there's like a 70 to 80% probably that is not a script. And I think what's great about that is that the main thing about not ever writing down any dialogue is that no one can censor it. So it was an accidental thing that we did where we never really gave them actual scripts. But you can talk about, because of who we are, and Cedric and Niecy, and we're all friends, and Carlos and Wendy, you know, like we can talk about things that no one else would talk about, and that no television company would ever approve you to say, like ever. Like don't F other people's food, which is a huge runner of one episode, and yeah.
How many folks are surprised to know that besides Reno 911, that you actually have a very successful screenwriting career with like Night at the Museum, The Pacifier, Balls of Fury?
Anybody ever see Hell Baby? A couple devoted people, thank you. That movie is so much better than people think. Yeah, so, honestly, so that came about. We'd always been a sketch group in New York. In fact, at NYU, we were like the official NYU sketch club, and we were called the New Group. The reason that happened actually is the really good sketch club at NYU had a guy in it that they kicked out of the group. That group is called the Sterile Yak. And in that group was Mo Willems, who wrote, anybody know Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus? Right. So Mo kicked someone out of his group, and as revenge, that guy started a new comedy group, which was called the New Group, and that was us. And then later, years later, we also kicked that guy out of our group. Sketch comedy groups are some of the meanest groups in the world. Watch out. It's like worse than like hip-hop feuds. So we'd started doing sketch comedy, and I thought I would go to New York and be like a very serious, sad actor, you know. That was the plan, to be in like sad plays, you know, be in like Sam Shepard plays and be sad and smoke cigarettes and just look sad all the time. And then I realized, oh, everyone thinks I'm silly. So, but to be in a sketch show, you must write everything, otherwise you'll never be in the show. So it was the best practice of how to start writing a lot every day, and pitching your material to people that don't want to hear it, which is your best friends in the comedy group. Because if your sketch goes forward, it means that one of theirs does not. So we realized as we were in the state, like writing all day, every day, having tons of material, getting tons of material thrown away, having to pitch it to people who aren't that psyched about it, was the greatest. It was like the Karate Kid. We were practicing for how to write for movie studios. Accidentally, which was just like writing nonstop, throwing it all away, getting yelled at, trying again, getting yelled at. So it ended up sketch comedy led us into screenwriting, and it was a weirdly logical path, yeah.
And then speaking of writing, one of my favorite questions to ask folks is, you know, a big thing right now is taking very cult classic and famous movies and turning them into Broadway shows, Back to the Future, Mean Girls. And I always ask, if you could do that, what movie would you do? But you kind of already did that.
One thing that we are working, as like a musical,
Yes.
for example, we are quite literally working on, does anybody remember a sketch we did called Porcupine Racetrack? Yeah. Uh-oh. Maybe we should stop working on it if only those people in the back know about it. Oh, damn it. I thought this was a really good idea. So we have a sort of a famous old state sketch called Porcupine Racetrack. Oh, I could do the whole thing for you right now. Porcupine, 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 racetrack, porcupine, 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 racetrack, porcupine, 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 racetrack, watch them porcupines go. It's really, that's all, mostly what happens. And then some porcupines go by. But we are turning that into a feature-length Broadway musical with Brian Henson and the Henson Company, which has been cool. So, you know, like, it's a nice mix. Because there is something about, like, the state, our comedy group, that we seem less like humans and also a little bit like Muppets, I think.
I think so.
So I think it's kind of a weirdly good blend of the two of us. Yeah, because none of us quite really seem like humans, you know? So that we're working on.
So how did
and some other stuff.
Trading Places?
Trading Places.
Yeah, Trading Places.
Trading Places, the musical, which is endlessly coming out. We ran it in Atlanta, and that was really fun. And it'll probably be up again in New York soon. Ooh. And that that just came about. I'll be honest, musicals take guys, never write a musical. They take forever. They cost $1 zillion. They're impossible. Just do TikToks and stuff. It's more satisfying. Musicals take, I've been writing the musical of Trading Places for, I think, 8 years. I mean, it's opened once, and it was fun, but it's not a steady job. Yeah, there's other stuff there's better stuff to do. Yeah.
Speaking of TikToks, do you find it humorous at all that Reno 911 kind of gets brought up in the TikTok world of people not understanding that the sketches were part of the show?
Many people send us stuff and they're like, you should do something like this. And we're like, that's verbatim Cedric, and that's our show. The one that gets sent to us a lot is Hitch Kick, the drunk pullover. With the step ball change, and that gets sent a lot to us. When we did start the show, the Washoe Sheriff's Department, there's a Reno Police Department and a Washoe County Sheriff's Department, and they got lots of angry phone calls. They got lots of calls about you should never let your officers be portrayed like this. They're doing whippets, and I'm nude in about half of the episodes. Like, they definitely got a lot of flack. That was a super long time ago. Now, Reno Police Department and Washoe Sheriffs and the city of Reno all follow me on all social media, and they're super nice. And the city of Reno, there was one season that I did a little like rap song. It goes, get up, get down, I'm proud of Reno. It was really dumb. It goes like, they got a fake Eiffel Tower. We have world-class winter sports. You can keep Fremont Street. I'll take Virginia and 4th. And it was like this weird little time-filling sketch I did that was like saying nice things about Reno. And this actual city of Reno reached out and they're like, can we actually use that in our social media? And I'm like, absolutely you can. So it started off as a bumpy relationship, but now we're very friendly. Yeah.
That's tremendous. I love that.
Yeah, I'm friends with the mayor. Nobody likes her, but I'm friends with her.
Do you think...
accidentally in Reno, I'm always like, woo, I'm friends with the mayor. And they're like, F you. She's horrible. I'm like, oh, that's what I meant. I mean, she's terrible. She seems great.
Do you think you could run for mayor of Reno and win?
I would... I asked this question at the airport bar. I was in Reno, looking mostly like this. And I'm at the airport. You know that fancy place at the airport called Vino Volo? Yeah. It's like where you get a glass of wine that's like $160 So I'm sitting there around a bunch of functional alcoholics, and they all recognize me, and I'm like, hey. I was like, I could probably run for mayor here, couldn't I? And every single person in Reno was like, absolutely, and you'd win. So I think it would not be that hard for me to win there. The only trick is then, like, day 2, do I want to do that job?
Right.
I mean, I think the first day's fun, like, because I make the office fun, and I get carpeting, and it's a lot of, like, fun photos. It's kind of like this. That's like the first day, is everybody high-fiving me. Second day, people are like, you suck as a mayor. And I'd be like, well, you did, Chip. It's like electing a dog. You know, sometimes there's a town that will, like, elect a dog as the mayor. Yeah. I think I would be good at that level of mayorship.
At this time, by the way, we do have a microphone right here. If you guys have questions,
Keep it controversial.
Feel free to start lining up. While folks are lining up, I'm going to ask you, do you still get starstruck at all, especially when you're at a convention like GalaxyCon and you see folks in the back, you see people at the tables next to you? Do you still get starstruck?
I do. My biggest starstrucks are, yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's different. Like you know, like meeting R2-D2 is always more interesting to me than. And some folks I'm like friends with. It's nice to be at these. I get overwhelmed by seeing people I love a lot. Like, I got to see Lee Majors recently at one of these, and believe it or not, we're old friends. From a beautiful picture called Out Cold. Anybody? No one. Oh. That's a pretty weird movie, guys.
New boots?
I dropped a chapstick into my new boots.
Okay.
The bit where I rolled on the couch was not a great idea. It kind of hurt and it messed up the out. It's okay. I'm sure. Keep it confrontational.
It's not very.
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to. How dare you? And how dare you?
I just
All
loved
right.
Viva Variety so much growing up.
Thank you.
And I would love to hear about Viva Variety.
I will tell you everything about Viva
And
Variety.
do you still remember the Robert De Niro song?
Of course, he
Okay,
looks like De
that's
Niro.
right. I sing
On a
that to
scale
this
that
day.
goes 10 to 0, he gets an 8 for looking like De Niro. We did a song called He Looks Like De Niro. We had New York City's best Robert De Niro lookalike, who years later was arrested for defrauding an innkeeper for pretending to be Robert De Niro. Sometimes when you've lived a long time, you see an article about, oh my God, they have arrested a Robert De Niro lookalike? Oh my God, I know him. Viva Variety started with, there was a sketch on the State called the Mr. and Former Mrs. LaPan Variety Program. Do you remember that at all?
No.
I think the idea for Viva Variety was, I'd gone to Europe and was staying in like Amsterdam in a boat hotel, like an awful little hotel that was a boat. And with jet lag, I turned on the TV, and sometimes in Europe there's TV where like people are naked, and they're like, also there's like, it's sort of like The Price is Right, but then there's also a live chimpanzee. Europeans, for acting classy, their TV is garbage. And it's just, and we were like, let's do something like this. Let's do something this stupid. Like a show that, so the idea was, do a show for Comedy Central that's been on everywhere in the world for years and is a huge hit, except in the United States. So like, the whole bit was everybody knew it was like, monkey sports, and we had a live chimpanzee, which was a terrible idea. Never use a live chimpanzee for anything. But actually, the weird detail about Viva Variety, so it was a fake variety show from Europe, and it actually ran longer than The State, which was our first show. There's more episodes of Viva Variety than there were of The State, so it's just a fun detail. That was a fun show.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
One of the members, I'll give you more details about that. One of the members of the swimsuit squad on Viva Variety, her name is Jill Nicholas, and her father was the golfer Jack Nicklaus. And every Sunday night, get ready, they would have a long conversation in Morse code. They both had Morse code machines, and that was the way that they would talk to each other every Sunday night. They had a little session. I don't know if that was the only time they talked to each other. I like to think that it is. But every Sunday night, she's like, well, at 8, I got to be by the Morse code machine. Yep. Anyway, It's just little details. You never know. Sometimes you meet a Robert De Niro, he gets arrested. It wasn't really Robert De Niro. You know.
Did you at any point think about learning Morse code so you can listen in?
Jill was actually that beautiful. So yeah, she would be the kind of girl you would want to learn Morse code.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm not going to answer that. That's insane.
Fair enough, yeah.
Okay.
I'm Megan. In Reno 911,
Yes.
did you like wearing the roller skates? And if you did, what is your favorite memory?
Well, I don't wear the. Terry wears the roller skates more than me. That's Swartzen who wears the skates mostly.
Yeah,
But I'm a very good skater. I'm a far better roller skater than Nick Swartzen. Far better. I'm also on less edibles. So
Maybe the two are
I think it's a perfect storm of me being both better at roller skating and not unbelievably high on edibles. Yeah, I like doing I like always doing stunts. I like doing every stunt I can do. I've done every stunt on Reno 911 that I could do, I've done, which is really the vast majority of them. And I got hurt all the time. Yeah, literally every time, always get hurt, always covered in scratches. Generally, at the end of a day on Reno 911, I take a shower, and when the soap hits my body, I start screaming because I didn't know I had so many cuts all over me from like rolling around in gravel, getting whacked with sticks, stuff like that. Thank you for your confrontational question.
Hello.
Hey there.
How dare you?
I know, I'm sorry. Ajax here. Hey, what was it like playing the accordion salesman in Weird, the Al Yankovic story?
Great plug for Weird, the Al Yankovic story, winner of many, many awards. You got to scroll down the awards. I'll give you 2 pieces of backstory on that. So when Al got his star on the Walk of Fame, I was the main speech. So Al and I have been friends for a really long time. I think he's actually probably my best friend. And when he started working on Weird, he said, you can play, there's 2 parts you can play. He said, do you want to be, he said, one's better than the other. And I was like, well, I'm going to take the better one. Immediately, I was like, well, what has more screen time? Because I'm an absolute, you know. And the answer was, he was like, the other option was I could play Paul Rubens, or I could play the accordion salesman. And I was like, accordion salesman, especially because he also opens the movie. You know, it's like very early in the picture. I'm like right after Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is cool. But that was fun. There was a great joke that they didn't use. I think it was for time. But at the end of the accordion scene in the beginning of Weird, the Al Yankovic story, I'm dying and like coughing up blood. And the mother says, yes, Mr. Accordion Salesman, we're going to take that accordion after all. And then that scene ends. But when we shot it, she says, Mr. Accordion Salesman, I'm going to take that accordion after all. And I'm coughing up blood, and I say, it doesn't come with the case. And I was really proud of that joke. You're getting to hear DVD bonus material that's not on the DVD. But I loved that joke, and I'm still very mad at them for not using it.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you. Hello.
When you were on your way to the House of Blood, what was your favorite food item that you ate as grossly as possible because you knew it was going to disgust the audience by listening to all the...
Yeah. Probably, so those, in that scene, the scene where we're eating all the po' boys and stuff? Yeah. That's a place called Domalices in New Orleans. Anybody from New Orleans? Yeah? Go to bed, Cher. What you doing? So there's a great po' boy place called Domalices, and I believe Rob Hubel in one of those eating scenes ate something like eight of those like foot-long oyster po' boys, and then I think he nearly died. Like, he did not feel okay. He really, really did not feel okay. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
That'll be next. That'll be next. Thank you. Yes.
I can answer questions on behalf of them. What's the show?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Dan Boutros. I am DB. So I'm a big Doug Loves Movies fan. I was wondering if
Thanks, bud.
I was wondering if you could play a quick round of love like, hate like with
Great.
movies.
Please, with my own pictures.
Yes.
Great. Let's go. What do I do?
Love.
Oh, a movie of mine that I love?
Yeah.
Hell Baby. Yeah.
One that you just like.
That I'm in, or that I mean, because we could start ranking the terrible movies that I'm in.
Let's go with the written.
Do you want like the worst? Oh, the worst movie I've written
No, the one that you just like.
that I dislike the most. The finished version of Let's Go to Prison is not great. It was better in the rough cut, I will tell you that.
And how about one that you hate yourself for liking?
But I hate because I like it?
Yeah.
Of my own movies?
Yeah. How about with that? We'll go
How about one that I genuinely don't really like?
Yeah.
Well, let's do the list. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm in the movie called Boat Trip. That is exactly the correct reaction.
Yep.
I'm in a movie called Boat Trip. Here's a weird thing that happened on Boat Trip, when I'm going to tell you a great aspect of it. That movie was shot for absolutely no reason in Cologne, Germany. For some reason. So it's in Cologne. I know, we don't know why, but they got a good tax credit. Köln. So we're shooting in Köln. And every night, they're way behind schedule, so every day I just go have a great schnitzel and like a couple German beers, and then I wander back to the hotel. And one night, making the worst movie I've ever been in, I wander back to the hotel, and who's in the coming the other way through the hotel lobby but John Bon Jovi? Correct. I had worked one day on a movie, also a terrible movie, called Row Your Boat. Me and John Bon Jovi had a scene. This was 5 years before Cologne, Germany. And I'd lock eyes with John Bon Jovi across the lobby of the whatever it is, the Hilton Cologne. And he goes, "Tom!" I was like, that was crazy. I remembered him because he's John Bon Jovi.
Right.
He remembered me because he's a wonderful human being. And I was like, I'm gonna start being more like that guy. Every day, I'm gonna like meet people and learn their names and act like I care, and then I didn't. I never did it. But if there was a day that I was gonna be more like John Bon Jovi. And then another weird movie that I'm in, I saw a movie that was like too gross for me to watch that I'm in. Have you seen Puppet Master? That's a really hard to watch movie. Also, I have a very long, graphic, romantic scene in that. That's weird. You know, and sometimes it happens. You know. Did we answer things well?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, now let's get to the hotel.
Hello.
We still keeping it confrontational?
As confrontational as you can get.
Listen up.
I'm not going to answer that.
Listen,
You're
buddy.
insane. Go for it.
I work in a museum.
How dare you?
You need to quit telling all of our secrets.
How dare you?
Okay. Actual question.
Yes.
Question. My friends and I are fans of the short-lived American Song Contest.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Ryan Charles song "New Boot Goof"?
I really am. A couple things about that, and I love that you know his name. Because that guy, so this guy came out and did a song, was like, I'm new boot goofing, I'm a new boot goofing, I'm a new boot goofing, doing new boot stuff. And then they asked him, where did you get the idea for a new boot goofing song? And he's like, it's just something my uncles always said.
Oh, so he's just lying.
And I said, bullshit. It is not something your uncle always says, and if he did, it's because I say it. Give me that one thing, weird guy on American Song Contest. He also did not win, and he seems very nice. He seems nice, and he didn't win, but he definitely did just kind of poach that. But it's fair because I didn't trademark it, so good for him. And you guys know you can get a tattoo down below? They have an official New Boot Goofing tattoo. Yeah, they gave me the artwork for it yesterday to show what it looks like. I'm not getting it. It looks really good. No, it's really great. It's like the boots, and it just says, it's like a beautiful little font. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go confrontational next time. What you didn't know is there was a secret night at the museum that never got made where they're going to England and everything accidentally ends up at Harrods department store. Didn't get made. That was a middle night at the museum. Sometimes you write whole drafts of movies and then people just throw them in the garbage. They look at it and they go, no. And you're like, well, you didn't read it. And you're like, well, what happens? Night at the museum, but it's in Harrods department store. No. And that's welcome to show business.
Yep. I'm Alex. You may have just answered the question for me, but I was going to ask whether you find writing or being in front of the camera more fulfilling.
I would say writing for sure. I mean, to me, I started writing, I went to a theater camp when I was 16. It's where I met actually Carrie Kenny, who plays Weigel on Reno 911. So we became friends when we were 16 years old. And that's when I thought I was going to be a serious actor. I had a really specific one guy who was my mentor. And so I went to theater camp. Has anybody seen the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah? So that's a movie by Peter Hedges based on the novel by Peter Hedges. He also wrote An Ocean in Iowa and some other stuff. But Peter, when he was like 20 years old, was my camp counselor when I was like 16. And he was the coolest person I'd ever met. And he was writing plays. So he was my creative writing teacher that whole summer. But it was very like Dead Poets. He'd be like, let's go down to the beach at Northwestern and like, let's write a one-act play. And we're like, well, it probably won't be good. And he's like, so what? In 2 hours from now, we're guys who've written a one-act play, you know? And if we write 10 of them, one of them might be good. And so it was like, he just gave me he got me into the groove of like, oh, write every day as like a joy, as a thing that you love to do. And I still do. I mean, I write, you know. A lot of times I ask people like send me their nephew to like talk about screenwriting. I get a lot of nephews sent my way who want to screenwrite. And I'm like, would you do it every day if no one was paying you for the rest of your life? And if they say no at all, I'm like, well then it's not for you then. Yeah, it's definitely not for you. It should be something that you would do every day for free, because most of the time screenwriting is for free. Very, very rarely do they pay you, but sometimes they do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Writing is very satisfying to me.
All right, so we have a little bit over 10 minutes left. I think we can get through with
It's going
these
all
questions.
confrontational.
All right.
I'm going to phrase this as confrontation.
Please
if
do.
you can.
Thank you.
Please explain and justify the character of Lil Gary.
Lil Gary was made up on the spot. That doesn't make sense. There is no point to Little Gary. He's a little guy who works for the drug cartels. I think what happened for Lil Gary, and it does not make sense. This is on the original podcast of Comedy Bang Bang, once called Comedy Death Ray. I think Scott just started talking. He's like, we've got a special sidekick announcer this week. And I was like, I'm Lil Gary. The cartels are coming to kill me. And everyone hated it. And then I came back and I sang a song called I Am Not Food. I am not a French fry. I am not food. I am a guy. And no one liked that either. And since everybody sent like hate mail about don't have Lil Gary back on, we just kept doing it for years. I am not food. Yeah, man, I'm working for the drug cartels down there. I mean, I've been working down in Ciudad Juarez. Yeah, so that's Lil Gary. I don't think there's anything really to like about Lil Gary, except he's got a horrible life.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. We've also done, I don't know if you noticed, but Scott Aukerman, who's a genuine lunatic, we've done, so the first episode ever of Comedy Bang Bang, the podcast, one's called Comedy Death Ray, but we've done, the first two guests are me and Rob Hubel of the very first episode. So now we've done that episode live as a prank like 4 other times, where we go back and Scott gives us a script of the conversation that we had in the very first episode of Comedy Bang Bang. Oh. And if you look, we do it every couple years. We read a script of a conversation we had like 15 years ago. And then it's so pointless. Absolutely a pointless prank on us, I guess.
Hi.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
How was your time working on How I Met Your Mother?
How I Met Your Mother was really an enormous amount of fun. That was a great one because they call me and they're like, we've written a character with you in mind. And I'm like, oh, I love that so much.
Oh.
And they're like, his name is, he's Klaus, and he is the fiance, and he's like in a tuxedo, and he says these beautiful long things in German, and I'm like, that's great. And you wrote this character for me, and they're like, yes. And in the next episode, he's a nudist who's covered in ferrets. So the first episode, I'm in like a really beautiful tuxedo, and I'm saying like, Lebenslanker Schicksalsholz, You must find the lebenslange Schicksalsschutz. And then the next episode, I'm fully nude, covered in ferrets. But that was fun because my fiance was the wonderful Ashley Williams, who then went on to play my wife in a pilot that did not go. And then her sister, Kim Williams, basically, played my wife in a movie that was very bad. No fault of hers, just it was not a good movie. So I've ended up being married or engaged to more than once to all of the Williams Paisley sisters, which is just fun. It's just fun.
Thank you.
Sometimes acting's fun.
Hello.
Hi there. I'm a huge fan of your book, How to Write Movies for Profit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, because of all the insights you gave to that
Mm-hmm.
and some very detailed stuff, did you ever receive any blowback for that? Because like you got really in detail with how the Hollywood system works.
No, we never got. No, we've only gotten really positive feedback on that book. For the most part, it's been really, really positive. I think there was one studio executive who seemed annoyed about it, who is a woman that we love a lot and actually think is one of the best executives. But she was annoyed, but she had not read it. So we were like, oh, have you read it? She's like, yeah, it says all executives are stupid or something like that. I'm like, no, that's not what that book says at all, actually. It actually says, like, stay close to the executives, and, most studio executives want to keep their job and help them do that. So we didn't really get too much blowback from that. I think Anna Kendrick called it the most accurate book about Hollywood ever written, which I thought that was a pretty good win, because she's in a bunch of movies. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Let's get confrontational. Come on.
Hey, goddammit, my name's Tyler.
Whoa! Settle down!
My name's Tyler,
Take it up a notch!
and I just... Easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Tyler what?
My last name's Hurley. Should I spell it for you?
Hurley?
Yeah, Hurley.
Like a Hurley ball?
Like a Hurley ball, yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Perfect.
What?
I'm glad you're standing. Since you got great legs, and you do a lot of physical comedy, is there any workout regimen that you kind of consistently do?
You want a joke answer or a real answer?
I want both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me think of a joke answer. Joke answer. Oh, steroids,
Oh, of course.
obviously. The real answer is going to be, are you going to judge me?
No.
Are you going to judge me?
I will not. No.
I go to hot yoga literally every day. Yeah, I'm one of those. I go to like a super, super hot yoga class. I wear a Speedo. I don't wear a Speedo. I don't wear a Speedo. But I do go to hot yoga every day.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'm one of those guys who, like yoga bully. Like the first guy to be like, namaste, super loud. But I said it loudest. Hi. I know you're waiting for the hotel, yeah?
My name's Chloe.
Hi.
Can you tell me a prank?
Tell me, I'm sorry, one more time?
A prank.
A prank. The best prank I've ever played. Oh, I know one. I told my friends that I'd left Greece. I was in the Greek islands with Ken Marino and David Wayne and Joe Latruglio, and I crashed a Vespa. Really bad. And then I did leave for a little while. I went to Athens, but then I didn't tell them when I started feeling better. I snuck back and found them. So I found Ken Marino, and I was all bandaged up, and I looked like the Invisible Man. And he was using an ATM in the island of Mykonos. And I just went and I stood right next to him, and I was like, oh, hey, man. And God bless Ken Marino, because he was like, hey. It's very hard to prank the people in my comedy group. We have a plan in the state that as we die in order, the group gets to pick what the other members are buried in. So unless you are the last living member of the group, you do not get to pick what you're getting buried in. Yeah.
My name is Katie, and I was wondering, out of all the films that you have filmed in, what was your most favorite one and why?
My favorite film that I've ever been in, ever, is absolutely 17 Again. For a whole bunch of reasons. Well, I mean, Zac is one of the funniest, loveliest people. Oh, Zac Efron borrowed this outfit one Halloween. Like the year right after 17 again. He was like, we'd just made the movie, and he was like, hey, it's Halloween's coming up. Can I borrow that actual outfit? And my real one has like a metal Beretta that's real. It's plugged, but it's like a real gun. And I just gave it to him. And he took it and he went out on the town. You can still, if you Google Zac Efron Dangle Halloween costume, he looks amazing in it. Don't lend your outfit to people that will look amazing in it. It would have been really better not to have seen him in this, because he crushes it. That's a wonderful movie. It was fun because I got to, like, there's weird parts of that character. The character's a lot like the real me, I think, and like sleeping in a land speeder and stuff. But also I got to sort of, I did get to sort of like write as we go some little things, like where I'm like, you know, a cyborg. Vampire wouldn't say, a cyborg wouldn't know. There's like lots of just me saying things that is something I would probably say. And that was a sweet one, and got to work with Matthew again before everything. And then also Melora, who is my love interest in that film, the principal of the school, who I say our hands made a baby, and I do peacocking for. When her daughter, I love this little anecdote, which is when Melora's daughter applied to NYU, where I went to college, Melora asked me to write her letter of recommendation. So that was just a sweet, like, wrap up to 17 again kind of thing that was cute. Let's get confrontational.
All right, confrontational. You have a new, old show. You're going to be in the revival of Hollywood Squares.
Oh, I am going to be in that.
Yeah.
Let's go to a clip. Start Googling a clip.
All right.
That was really fun. I'm actually in a lot of the Hollywood Squares. I think what happens is you go on like one Hollywood Squares and they kind of want to see how funny you are.
Right.
And like if you're going to be amazing. Because not everybody talks on the Hollywood Squares.
Right.
Yeah, hi. Coming up.
It's coming up.
Coming
right,
up very
it's
soon.
coming up right after this. You want to stick around for Hasman Hotel?
Of course I do. I was sitting under, one episode I got to sit under Wiz Khalifa.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was fun. I got to meet Dionne Warwick. Guess which one smelled more like weed? Wiz Khalifa smelled like really, really, really good weed. I don't like weed personally. But I could tell that Wiz Khalifa, obviously, he must have a good guy. You know?
And then one last question.
Keep it confrontational.
And you can say no. Would you like to take a big, giant group photo with our folks here today in Columbus?
100%. So we'll be like in the front here?
Yeah, so we're going to have
Great.
everybody stand up out of your seats so we can see you. We're going to bring on our GalaxyCon photographer.